Hey there everyone, I'm Don, Professor Goway, and welcome to the Goway Pro Travel Tale Podcast. Travel far and travel often. Hello everyone, welcome to Goway Pro Travel Tales Podcast. Again in our new studio. We may mention this, and I will for a few more podcasts because I'm very pleased with our new look. We're still enhancing some of it, but this is our new, more sort of casual, I guess, vibe versus over-the-desk setup. Today we're talking to Linda Warner, who is our... Now, this I don't know. What's your official title? Like, you're head of product, but what's the...
Director of product.
Director of product, there we go. So Linda looks after, or oversees, like, is that a good way of terming, oversees our product development for all our departments?
I'll start again.
Okay.
Say it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Introduce me one more time. All right, let's do this.
Okay. Today we are with Linda Warner, who is our Director of Product. And Linda, in that role, what's your role, I guess? Is it guiding the direction of the product? Is it overseeing all of our product from all our departments? Obviously in conjunction with our commercial managers, or what they used to be called product managers. Is that, you sort of corral those cats, so to speak, when it comes to product?
Yeah, that's an absolutely fair statement. It's sort of to oversee brand standards across all of our divisions, to do some gap analysis. You know, do we have the same type of themes, the same type of wording across all of our divisions and our product lines, sort of to see it from a higher level, and ensure we have some brand standards across the board.
Yeah, and that's important because as we record this, which is December of 25, we have just launched our, I wouldn't say new website, but updated website, Goway 3.0, I guess.
You did, yeah, it looks great.
And something you mentioned there, like standards across everything we do, the language we use, because the website has been redesigned to be a lot more user-friendly, a lot more visually stimulating. And again, as you just mentioned, part of that was bringing our products, because again, we do all 7 continents from all levels, 3 to 5 star, soft adventure, hard adventure, high-end luxury, groups, everything. We do pretty much everything out there. So you were trying to standardize across all our departments, like travel themes and travel styles. Is that the fair terminology that we're using?
That's absolutely fair, and that's absolutely correct.
Right.
Yeah, so when our partners are working with us, they've got customers in one division, you know, part of the world traveling, and then other customers in different parts, that they're getting the same type of itineraries, bespoke experiences across all of our continents.
Yeah, so when we say, or I say to you, I want to do an adventure trip in Peru, you go this, and this. When I come back next time, hopefully, or even on the same trip even, I now want to do adventure in Africa, that our destination specialists are delivering, as you mentioned, a similar, because obviously every country is different, but a similar level of product.
Correct.
So adventure equals adventure across everything, luxury, wellness, so on and so forth. Yep.
It's true, because across the board, what the customers are looking for, you know, these unique experiences, cooking classes, local experiences, hiking experiences, nature bathing, whatever it might be, we really are seeing those type of themes across all travel, regardless of destination.
Right.
So ensuring that we have those product offerings across the board, and that every commercial manager and every product team is looking at things the same way to offer.
The same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And again, in turn, we then deliver the same expectations. Oh, no, that's not right. Not expectations. We deliver the same type of product regardless of destination.
Exactly.
Again, within reason, based on country. So, because one of Goway's biggest issues has been a victim of our own success, in that because we do all 7 continents, we can offer, I don't want to say every type of style of travel, but pretty much every style of travel. We ran into that confusion and different terminology being used, and also people, like we did have travel styles which could be the same thing, etc. So part of your role recently has been to, again, refine that, regroup our travel styles, and as part of that, a new one that's come out of it for Goway at least, I know it's been around for a while, is women's only travel or women's solo travel. Is both of those expressions describing what we're doing, or are we choosing a particular title for this? Is it women's only or women's solo, or either or?
Do you know what? We've actually had a lot of internal conversations about this as well. The trend is that women are starting, to trend more or travel more on their own.
Right.
So solo women definitely is very applicable. But the way we have been looking at it with the new small group tours that we've designed, as well as in our custom side of the business, when people are looking to travel independently, it's women focused.
Okay.
Because there's still a lot of women, while they're traveling as a woman, often with a sister or a friend who also is a woman. So, yes, often it is solo women, but it's more women only. Is
Women
actually the
only,
focus.
okay.
Yeah.
So it caters to both, obviously, a solo female traveller or a woman who wants to travel with other women, okay, or as in, so doesn't have a sister, mother, friend to travel with, they can join us. So let's go back to the basics here. Now, this style of travel has been around for a while. A lot of companies have been approaching it before Goway has, but in our sort of restructure, rebirth with our new website, etc., we're now taking it on, regardless of whether Goway's doing it or anyone else is doing it. As a female, what's the logic? No, that's two questions. I'll ask you one as a professional, but first, as a female who wishes to travel, you, and speaking on behalf of all womanhood out there, no pressure, why is women-only female solo travel an important thing to this demographic?
Absolutely. And you know what? There's many different points. Obviously, one that often comes up, is it safety? Is it comfort? Is it, even in myself, I have traveled a lot as a single woman, independent, independent travel. And it's a question I often get almost at the forefront. Did you feel safe? Was it okay? Did you go out at night? What did you do? So I do think some of that, then when you're traveling with other women, yeah, there's a little bit of a safety and a comfort. You have a tour leader, you have an organized itinerary in cases, and you're traveling with a small group. So, that certainly is one of the check boxes. But as I mentioned, sort of like-minded women. It brings together women of similar interests. Often people are in a stage of life where maybe they're trying to rediscover themselves, and the other women on the trip, are doing sort of that same thing. It can also, often women are in sort of a caretaker role, for years, maybe while they're raising children, or of certain demographics, more taking care of the home. And so it brings them together with maybe other women who spent a lot of years doing that and now are looking to do something for themselves to expand their own and rediscover themselves, if you will.
Look, let me just interrupt here for a second, because my wife, who we met traveling, she left. She did what you were saying. She was an independent traveler, left and did some exotic traveling, to Africa or Asia first, then to Africa. One thing led to another. She ended up coming to Latin America, where she met me. But she was like, I guess, a perfect example of the demographic that we're looking at here. In her case, young professional, traveled independently. She went for group travel. I think, well, not solely and wholly, but a lot had to do with safety. As an individual, not a female necessarily, just as an individual solo travel, but obviously females, sadly enough, have to be more concerned about that. But she didn't look at the time for a female-only group. She went for a group environment for the safety and obviously to meet other people as well. So what differentiates the structure of this product, or again, as a female traveler and professional, why is it important, do you think, to have the female-only aspect to it?
No, that's a good question.
Beyond safety.
Absolutely. So I think what we're seeing when you are joining, so let's say you've made the decision to do a small group trip, often, people come in couples, or and then often some of the feedback is they felt a little bit like, a third wheel or an odd man out, still having a great time. But when you're then traveling in a group of just women and going back, a lot of them are probably solo travelers, so they are already coming. There's a higher chance of lots of single people coming together. But it's just an empowering, supportive environment when there's just women. And I think the conversations you might have or the experiences that you're talking about with your fellow travelers, it's already geared a little bit different than when you have couples and different people.
And I must admit, as a traveller and as a tour guide, again, not complaints we got, but often people, again, regardless, it's mixed groups, so to speak. And each trip varied because we had groups of up to 25. So you could have a group of 25 single people one time, then you could have a truck full of almost all couples. But when you got in that sort of 50-50 mix of couples and singles, yeah, there was that, again, not complaint, but I wish there were more single people, because couples are cool, but couples are couples. So, yeah, I guess by extension, to your point. But again, there could be couples, of course, on a women's only group.
Of course.
But generally speaking, it's predominantly more single people, or as you mentioned, companions, in respect to like mother-daughter,
friends,
mother
sisters,
friends,
yeah,
that type
absolutely,
of thing.
yeah. We're seeing a lot
Or
of
even
that.
female social groups or groups of friends going out on that particular trip.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
So when this was coming to the fore for Goway, did we start out, like in the discussion points from a destinational point of view, did you, in consultation with the commercial managers, discuss, let's start in the safer countries, again, because safety being an issue, or did you sort of throw it at the wall and go for, let's go to the exotic destinations? Like, okay, an example, Africa has a reputation, particularly for white females. I've heard lots of stories, nothing horrible, but just that pressure of being a single female in a male-dominated environment, or something like Africa versus Australia or New Zealand, which is more, I don't know what the word is, not developed, you know what I mean, like safer countries, more westernized countries.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, was that part of the thought process when designing our itineraries?
Yeah, so I mean, from a custom standpoint, we have been developing individual day tours and programs that might be female focused through all destinations.
Oh, okay.
And that's for independent travel, for somebody who's looking to travel independently. But we now have these new small group experiences that we've just developed and are going out. And there, so far, we have Thailand, India, Dubai, Morocco. Brazil is just coming online, and we're looking at a few others. You know what? We did start to kind of look, where might women really seek out a group.
Right.
So I guess, does that tie a little bit more to safety? Not even, or just a unique culture where maybe they just feel, I would prefer to be with a group and a guide. Yeah. But really, we're going to be looking across the world, and again, just bringing sort of a group together. Regardless of destination.
Yeah, so again, we've just launched this, and therefore, I think I wasn't counting, but I think you're at 6 or 7 destinations, i.e. 6 or 7 itineraries.
Correct.
Out the door. Mm-hmm. And the intent will be, like all the product we do, refine it, see what's popular, what's more successful, and then hopefully expand the portfolio of country options. Correct?
Exactly. That's exactly
Right.
our plan. So a lot of this actually came, we've been seeing our own with our sales teams. We've been hearing there's a real increase for people looking for women-only travel. But a lot actually came from our trade partners. We did our first ever travel advisory board, travel agent advisory board in August. And that was one of the main topics actually that came up. Is there more that you could offer for women only? And we did our roadshow together there in September. Yes. And I mean, that was a topic that came up all the time. And you know what? Women, of course, they're still looking for a classic itinerary with the must-do sites and attractions. It's not like that changes. They still want, to see the country as a whole. But they're looking to do it in a relaxed, meaningful way that's tailored to women. Women often appreciate guides who guide with the storytelling.
Yes,
I don't know, maybe women are a little more talkative, but they really enjoy being immersed in the culture, home-hosted dinners, engaging with locals.
Now, do you find that, like you said, women are more social? I know that was meant not as a blanket statement on all women versus all men, but again, coming back to the design of these itineraries, like a lot of what you're saying, I would see a lot of men liking well. Is there, okay, this is like, that's why we're having the conversation, because you just, for those not watching the video, Linda just raised her eyebrows like my wife would do with me if I said something silly. But I guess my point is, because when you look at an itinerary, I'm going to say 8 out of 10 elements, because you said it yourself a minute ago, like these itineraries are still doing the things that everyone wants to do with some added focal points for a female. But some of the focal points you just mentioned, I don't see them being dismissed by a male traveller. So I guess this is not, I'm not challenging you or the commercial managers, but as a concept, and I think a lot of our travel professionals would like to probably understand this if they've never done this. And this is like, how do I sell this to you as a female, saying this trip to Peru is good for you as a single female versus this sort of normal trip? Right, because, and you say to me, because it's got this, this, and this, what are those elements that make it special or more beneficial for a female traveler?
No, and you know what, I'm more joking with you. And of course, we have our small group Odyssey program, which is quite successful. And of course, anybody can book onto that. And it still has really wonderful immersive experiences there as well. So yeah, these ones are just meant for women wanting to travel with other women. We will also have female, tour leaders
that was
on
my
them.
other question, because I had heard, or I know for a fact, that there are a lot of requests coming for trips in Africa. Naturally, by this request, it comes from women only traveling together, not groups per se, but 2 or 3 women. They're requesting female safari guides, game drivers. They want as much possible, particularly in countries which may not have a great reputation with female empowerment. They're trying to encourage that by asking for female guides, female drivers, as much female aspect of it as well. So you already answered my question. So these tours will have female guides all the time?
Yes, I mean, that's definitely what we're intending with these. And you know what? It kind of just comes full circle. The main increase, the group that we are seeing the largest increase for this type of solo women travel is actually 45 plus. And I think it comes with maybe, a change in life. Often kids are older, getting out of the house. People are stable financially, stable in their careers. And also, I think as you grow older, especially I can speak as a woman, you feel more comfortable in your own skin, and sometimes again, going back to the caregiver, raising young children, a lot of people, often have desires to travel. They were always waiting for the right time or other people to join them, whether that be their spouse or a friend. And now women are kind of just, you know what? I really would like to travel. I want to do these things. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it on my own. So even on our trips, to have that female theme come full circle, we're really incorporating visits to female cooperatives, women-led businesses.
Right.
And back to your comment on female guides, you're right. In a lot of country, the guides that are female, it's very low numbers. It is more of a male-centric career, and it just brings it, empowers women to get into these professions as well. And so I feel like it makes it well-rounded.
Again, I'm just playing devil's advocate to a degree here. Like I'm on your side because, as you know, I coach a female rugby team, and I'm surrounded by women there. There's quite a lot of women here at Goway as well. But even still, when women get together, like men get together, there's different social vibes to it as well. And you're 100% right. There are aspects of a group of women together which men don't want to interact with, and vice versa. So it makes perfect sense that when a group of women together, they will chat about stuff that affects them and they want to chat about. So again, I was just playing devil's advocate to a degree. Another point that I just thought about as you were speaking there is that when I was a tour guide, and I've seen it here at Goway as well, we'd have like a gentleman would join the trip, travel for 3 months going around Latin America or through the Middle East. And then on the flip side, next trip would be a female, both married, not to each other, but married. And we'd say, where's your better half? Where's your spouse? Well, they don't like this type of travel. So I do this, she does that. Or I do this and he does that. So that's another angle as well, because as you said, as people, they become empty nesters, not every married couple want to do exactly the same thing travel-wise. And I know that my wife does like the adventurous stuff, but there are a lot of spouses, male or female, who don't like the same travel style as their other partner. So this is a good opportunity for a female to travel in the style, let alone the company, travel in the style that she wants to, with, again, to your earlier point, like-minded travelers.
It's true. And I think often what we also hear from women is they cater maybe to their spouse, or, what would you like to do on the itinerary? And here now they can feel, you know what, I only have to worry about myself. What would I like to do?
It's interesting you bring that up, because that type of thinking is reflective of an older societal attitude that the male has, not the right word, dominance, but precedent over decision making. And that surprises me that is still something that plays into the thought process of a female and her travel decisions.
Do you know what? Again, what we're saying, this biggest group that's increasing is 45, 55 plus, and plus. I'm talking 60s, 70s. Yeah. So I think that is kind of that generation that maybe you're referring to, but also women in their 30s to 50s. And I think this goes back to what you were saying with your wife, traveling independently before marriage, before kids. A lot of career-driven women, financially stable, looking for these experiences in life. So that demographic definitely is.
Let me ask you this: when you and the commercial managers were, sort of thrashing this out, stats of late, both male and female, show that the younger generation are not in as a rush, if a rush at all, to get married and or have kids for a whole lot of different reasons. It's just a different societal vibe at the moment. Finances become, as you have 3 younger kids, I have 3 older kids now, we know how expensive it is to raise a kid. A lot of people are actually foregoing family commitments because of finances, and also I'd say a lot of people are a lot more self-centered. I don't mean that in a negative way, but I'm going to look after myself for a while. Was that part of the decision making, knowing that women are not having kids, therefore they have more disposable income, not looking to settle them, because a lot of people, male or female, would travel to meet someone. Right?
No, 100%. And I think that's sort of that third bubble actually is the single, divorced, or widowed women, okay. Where women really are, on their own for various reasons. And the first in that component is single. Yes, no partner, not for whatever reason, or then, divorced, post-divorce, or widowed is what we're also seeing.
Yeah, so there's, I guess, an emotional safety aspect there. Sure. A single woman, be it younger or older, who just is not interested in the whole dating scene while traveling. If they travel with women, that really doesn't become a concern for them. They're not going to be hassled or pressured or...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you know what? And the perfect example for this scenario is actually my mom. Okay. My dad passed away 9 years ago, and they used to do a lot of traveling together, always together independently. Yeah. And, my mom wanted to continue traveling. She enjoyed traveling, but suddenly didn't feel, she was well into her 60s, now in her 70s. Didn't feel so comfortable doing it on her own.
Fair enough, yeah.
So she's joined groups and various types of groups, both women only or anybody, and definitely did find often on a non-women only, there would just be lots of couples, and they were doing sometimes couple things. So she also enjoys joining women only because then often she even has met some other widows who are now traveling and made some good friends actually.
Well, I could see my wife Jana doing this as well for that female company side of things, and it does mean it has to be the only way she travels now. Sure. It can be, as you say, travel like that, travel purely independently, or travel with me or with our kids. So it's it's yet another option, I guess, as well for a traveller, in this instance, obviously a female traveller. So on the more technical side of things, the age range that these trips are designed for, is there a specific age range, or like could an 18-year-old woman join and be with a whole lot of 65-year-old women? Is that going to be a concern, so to speak?
Do you know what? We'll sort of see how it unfolds. We've been seeing with our own Odysseys, typically our average client is definitely 55 plus for the Odysseys. So we've kind of designed these women-only trips sort of in a similar fashion. So again, we do think the trend again is that 45 plus, but of course any adult female can join the
Right.
trip.
So we have a travel professional out there. They have a group of 6 18-year-olds or 6 35 or whatever, a clump of women of a certain age group or social connections. Can they take over one of these departures?
Do you know what? That's a very interesting conversation because, yes, with 6, definitely we'd be open to the discussion. We, of course, also have a wonderful groups-only department, which typically is 10 plus. But no, we could certainly discuss something
Right. So
like
just
that.
to clarify, the itineraries, which we'll go through in a minute, these are set departures, set dates, correct?
Correct.
Are they guaranteed to run all the time?
Do you know what? We guarantee them. We try to guarantee them as low as possible, and that's 2. 2 people to operate. Because again, I completely understand people are less likely to book if something isn't guaranteed. Once you're dreaming about that trip, you want it to go. So we will guarantee these trips at 2 passengers.
Right. So is there a maximum to these groups?
16. 16 passengers.
So again, going back to my original question, someone comes in with, I'd say, probably 6 to 8 plus would be where this conversation would kick off. They could take over that particular date if they wished. Right. Like we'd probably still run 2 trips, but we could create a dedicated departure for them on that date or a date of their choosing.
We could.
Okay.
We could, yes.
And again, if a female's calling up and hey, this group, will we be able to tell them how many people are booked and sort of age? I know there's a privacy issue here, but again, this is something we got as an overland guide. When people call up, how many are booked? What's the age group? Because again, this is overlanding tented, more adventure thing. But that question came up often.
Yes.
About they wanted to know who they're going to spend. I know our trips aren't as long as this 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 months with. It was a bigger question in that style of travel. But are we, as a client or an agent, able to get that information from us or ballpark it?
Absolutely, we can give number of passengers. If your clients are booking and you'd like to know, how many people are booked so far, absolutely, we can give you that. Unfortunately, due to privacy laws, we can't give out people's date of birth.
That's fair. Okay, fine. But again, as you're saying, Goway's average demographic too is sort of that mid-30s to and beyond. So again, I guess I'm asking for the younger crowd who probably don't look to Goway for their travel, which is a shame. But it's at this stage, it's sort of it is what it is. But I just know if I was an 18-year-old, 19-year-old wanting to join an old guys trip, and I know there was a whole lot of 55-year-olds on there, that wouldn't be the thing for me. But again, I guess we can cross that bridge when we come to it. Should it pop up? You know what?
And interestingly enough, if you are by yourself and you'd like to join a small group tour, then that might be the best option. But if you already have a few other female friends, do you know what I mean? What we specialize in is custom travel. So we can definitely also look into that for you. Instead of joining one of these set departures and you have a few friends already, why don't we look at setting something up?
And on that point, as we are famous for customizing, when we say in the Goway world set departures, that's a set itinerary as well. Set date, set itinerary. So these are not up for customization if you join as a 1 or 2. If you want to take over an itinerary,
correct,
we can then start looking at tweaking it.
Something like that. But you know what? Anything that we have within the itineraries, we could certainly do on an independent basis as well. So some of these activities that we've been talking about, market visits, spa treatments, of course, cooking classes, street food tours, high tea experiences, a lot in nature. Again, women, really like to do sort of nature travel, slow down. Dinners, with wines, shopping, we could definitely also incorporate those into independent travel.
Now, you mentioned before that there'd be a whole lot of, well, not a whole lot of, that you are incorporating into these itineraries where applicable and available, things like women co-ops and stuff like that. So if someone joins a trip and that's a central piece to it, can they speak to our destination specialists about maybe donations, contributions, things like that? because I know people in general, male or female, there's a lot more giving back in thought processes now in travel. They want to, leave, what's the expression, leave only footprints type vibe. But, people want to be more involved, more hands-on. They want to interact more with local communities and cultures. And I'm asking this because when we were in Morocco, we went to a couple of women's cooperatives, and buying their goods, in the instance I was one way. But if someone wanted to volunteer, like orphanages and things like that.
Do you know what? Absolutely. And we're more than happy to answer these questions. And typically we will go right back, to the excursion and sort of see what would be best. Often, actually, it's, buying goods or buying the service, instead of donations, because essentially, we're empowering people sort of to be resourceful.
And again, just to reiterate, a lot of these itineraries are designed not only for the female passengers, travelers' point of view, but exposing them to female situations in these respective countries by, one, obviously getting female guides, which is one thing. Because the reason I ask this is I did a fantastic podcast with a female guide. Well, she's not a guide per se, but she is in charge. I can't remember the lodge. It's in Africa, but she's in charge of the female side of it in respect to female empowerment within South Africa. So it's educating young women in general, getting them to school, health issues, making sure hospitals have all the right facilities, and then encouraging them to get into tourism in this instance. So a lot of the activities or the concept of these itineraries are built around that thought process as well, correct?
It really is.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's full circle, because I think women, seeing other women and sharing stories, I don't know, that's really part of it, right? It's adds to this women empowerment, I guess, and support of other women and cultures, and beliefs and religions. I think it's a huge aspect of this.
Well, it's a sad situation where female empowerment still has to be a thing. Like it shouldn't be. It should just be. It is. Like, you are empowered. I married to very strong women. Work with a lot of very strong women. Coach women's rugby. Very strong women, physically and emotionally and mentally. And I just find it. I'm pleased we're doing it, and other tour companies as well. It's great to expose all travellers to what needs to be done in other countries at all levels, but obviously in this case, female freedoms, empowerment, etc. So it's a good thing. It's a fantastic thing. And can we just go over the itineraries again that we are coming out the gate with?
Yeah. So right now we have Thailand, India, Jordan, Dubai, Morocco, and Brazil will be up shortly, but more to come.
Okay.
We're just looking at Europe and other Africa. And the way we've done our room allotments is all single rooms.
Okay.
So the rate that we're going out with is a single room rate, because again, going back to the solo women, a lot of them will be solo travelers, but even those traveling with a sister or a friend, people still tend to like the single room.
So just for clarity, they are set departures, set itineraries, minimum of 2 guaranteed to run.
Correct, guaranteed to run.
All pricing is for a single room.
Yes.
If a mother, daughter, sisters want a double room,
we could of course look at that. Of course,
and or triples if you were traveling in bigger groups, so to speak.
Typically, we look at twin share, but we could certainly look at that if it came up.
But again, as always, there's a flexibility too.
There is, but we went out with room allocations for single. Yes.
Okay. All right, well, thank you, Linda. So again, that was 6 or 7 itineraries. Sorry, I keep asking that question.
No, 6 itineraries and more coming soon.
More coming soon. Now, I guess on your website, that women's solo travel is under travel styles, if people want to go looking for it?
It is, yeah. It's under travel styles, solo and women.
Solo and women. Okay, they're all listed there. As Linda has mentioned, we have a groups department. So if you see an itinerary, or any itinerary on Goway.com, but obviously these ones are designed, as Linda has explained, for, just dropped my microphone, for female travellers. You can speak to our groups department if you have 10 or more females wanting to do a trip. So I guess before we say goodbye, for travel professionals out there wanting to now tap into this, other than clients they already have, speaking to or touching base with social groups, female-focused social groups is a good way to maybe get this going if you out there want to tap into this new travel product. Yeah.
Do you know what? I couldn't agree more. And again, going back to my mom, who is now widowed, she has joined so many social circles. And a lot of them are catered, to women or single women. There's just so many clubs, dance clubs, meetups. There's actually, a lot in our everyday life that's sort of women centric.
So all those itineraries are on the website now, basically ready to book.
Absolutely.
And again, as I say, if you want to customize something, we can do that. Is there anything else you'd like to leave our travel professionals with about our women-only solo travel? I keep mixing it up.
Do you know, it is, it goes hand in hand, but yeah, essentially it's women only. No,
women only, sorry.
Thank you very much for having me. I think it's an important topic, and I think it's a trend that will only continue to skyrocket. Yeah, I think women will continue to travel in this way.
I'm going to be really pedantic here. So if someone calls in and they ask for women-only travel, are they speaking to a female destination specialist?
Do you know what?
Or is there going to be a guy on the phone extolling the virtues of women's-only travel?
Do you know what? I mean, you could probably request a female only, but I think any of our
I'm just winding you up, and hopefully. But as you just said, it's seriously, if someone wants to speak to a female
of course
destination specialist about female travel, of course, just please request that. No, but I was being a little bit facetious. So. Okay, Linda, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Again, thank you everyone out there for listening in today. We appreciate your time, knowing how busy you are, and until next time.